Hi there, my name's Luke. Welcome back to another episode of The Curious Creator, and today we finally have on Jake Taplin, the endurance runner I've been talking about in the previous episode with Harrison. But rather than me doing the intro, I'm going to let Jake tell us a little bit about himself to kick off the podcast. So welcome onto the podcast.
Hey.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
It has. It's been. You said a month. A month is a long time, especially for someone who just spends all the time running.
Yeah, I mean,
running and sleeping is all I seem to get up
I think
to,
the important thing is how many miles do you run a week on average?
Not a lot at the minute. It does vary.
It's winter, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in the summer, I think it was June through to like maybe end of August. I did 1,400. It did put a stress fracture in my foot, so I wouldn't recommend it.
You were out for it,
yeah,
weren't you?
I went out for a month in September because I couldn't run at all.
Yikes.
But I wouldn't recommend 1,400 miles. I didn't really know the extent of what 1,400
I mean,
miles was.
you literally took your body to breaking point.
Yeah.
Giving that, was it a stress fracture you basically
Yeah,
got?
so basically it was the bone at the bottom of my big toe.
Yeah.
From the multiple, just always coming off my toes.
Of course, yeah, you're just
basically
constantly hitting that bone, aren't you?
Cracked the bone.
Shit.
So yeah, just a month of no running, very
That's
minimal
crazy.
walking, and that was tough. But yeah, I'd say it varies. It varies especially with the weather, because as dedicated as I am to running, it's just not
British
in the
weather.
rain.
It kind of
It's
wins
tough.
everyone.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You just got to get a bit feral.
No, I get that. I mean,
And,
I wasn't a big runner, but I did do karate, and there's some things if you just keep repeating them, it's gonna cane. Because we basically did how do you put it? We call it conditioning, which is essentially like you would hit your arm over and over against someone else's, and it's not so much that it makes you tougher, like in little quotation marks, so much that it kind of neutralizes your feeling of pain.
Right.
So obviously, being an endurance runner, you kind of have to deal with lactic acid buildup.
Yeah.
So
to an extent,
that's basically what we were doing without the lactic acid.
Right.
That's essentially what we were basically fighting. So when someone punches you in the stomach, a normal person goes, "Oh," and they just curl up, and they go into fetal position until they kind of come back out. Whereas we're designed, when someone punches us, we're like, okay, that hurt a bit, but let's just carry
I'm not
on.
going to react to it.
Yeah.
I think, to a certain extent, like, especially with my running, I always tell people I don't have the typical runner's physique. I mean, if you get Harrison from the last podcast, and you were to compare body types, okay, he's a triathlete, but he's an exceptional runner.
Yeah.
You know, he's 6'4", whatever. Really tall.
I didn't want to say it in the
not skinny, but
yeah.
And then you've got me. I'm a hobbit. I'm a hobbit.
So I think we're about the same height, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm about 5'6".
Yeah,
and
I'm about
5'7" on a really, really good day.
If
the ego's feeling, I'm 5'7".
Yeah.
But no, 5'6".
In all fairness, when I met Emily and she was like, "How tall are you?" I was like, "I'm 5'7", and I'm like, "Actually, it's like 5'6" and 3/4". But
I'm like, it's 5'7". I like to round up, you know.
Just round it up.
I did sports science and I measured myself most weeks.
Mate, if someone is 5'11", they're 6 foot. Like, let's not beat around the bush. I mean, that's what they're gonna say. I mean, no one carries around a ruler with them. Like, all right, let's check that.
Also,
fact check.
5'7". You say 5'6". I say 5'7".
Potato.
Exactly. But I definitely don't have the runner's physique, and I work on this principle and this idea that I almost call the bulletproof body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, when you're running a long way, or I think for anything, life in general, if you can just be a bit, like you said, a bit resilient, a bit hard, you know, it's going to be harder to break that body. Whereas if you're a little wafer thin piece of body, it's not going to take a lot for...
No, you're
real life hits hard, and
I
think if you're not quite ready for it, you need that little bit of resilience to...
I feel like for the smaller guys, or even the smaller girls out there, they kind of need to be that little bit tougher.
A little bit more punchy.
Areas. Yeah.
I listened to so much stuff, like podcasts and speeches and all that sort of stuff. And he was an admiral in the Marines in America, and he was talking about SEAL training.
Is that the Goggins guy?
No, it's a different guy. So he's actually he's like one of the top guys in the Marines.
Oh shit!
But he was talking about the training they do in SEAL training, and they're split into groups for their boats. So I think it's like 6-man boat, and every day you have to paddle in your boats. And this guy was quite tall. He's like above 6 foot. He said they basically put all the short, dumpy guys together on one boat, and they got called the Munchkin crew because it's like all the short guys been put in the same boat.
Yeah.
But he said after every single row, they always came first, the smaller guys. And you're talking like they're going through these crushing waves. But these smaller guys who are more built, they had the power, they're just grinding through it, and they beat these taller guys every single time. So, like, when you had them getting called the Munchkin crew, but yet they were out doing what we would believe to be the better or more suited person.
Yeah, I think
that's what it is. I think
because I did do like PE, physical education, in college. I don't know why I did it. I mean, I was never gonna go through it fully, but I learned, like, especially out in America, Australia, China, I think also the UK a bit now, where they literally will go to schools, they'll measure kids up and they'll say, you're a swimmer, you're a runner, you're an archer.
which is really wrong in a certain extent.
It does, because you just got classed as something that you probably don't even care for.
Because exactly. I think from everything I've learned, I think particularly I'm going to bring up a sensitive topic. Gyms, always do it. So you've got what everyone starts doing is they start powerlifting, they start doing this, or they want to become a swimmer. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone should be able to go and do swimming.
Yeah.
But if you look, I think it goes back to, I want to say, Soviet Union. They used to basically just take people at sort of 10 and they'd be like, do some running, do some crawling, do some bodyweight squats, do all these just general movements, like I think it's called kinesiology or something like that.
Right, okay.
Kinesthetics, all that sort of aware. And become aware with your body, find out what you like and what you don't like. And then when you get to like 16, 17 and you're reaching the end of your growth, we go, actually, Luke is now 6'4", he'll make an excellent basketball player. He's tall, skinny, and he enjoys jumping. I think that's what we all sort of skip. We skip that understanding how your body works. I was never a born runner.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy running. I still, to an extent, don't.
So the endurance runner used to hate running.
Yeah.
So
I used to find it really boring.
No, I understand.
I used to find it really hard to find a reason on why people would run.
Yeah.
But it's that classic thing. I think if you speak to any runner, and it's normally marathons. So I remember I did my first marathon. It was a beachhead marathon.
Yeah.
I was absolutely awful. I did it in 5.5 hours.
Oof, grueling.
Yeah, it was probably the worst 5.5 hours of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember thinking the whole way, never doing this again. This is stupid. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I hate my life. I don't want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Got over the finish line, and then you now look at it, and we're, I think, 2 years on, and I'm going to run the length of the UK.
Jesus.
Which is like...
Have you got a time frame in mind for that?
I've said 15 days, but at the beginning I said 15 days, and I had a serious sit down with the old parents, who are sort of my grounders.
Yeah.
You need a grounding force
You
in
do
your life.
need grounders, otherwise you'll just start floating away, and then you're going to get hurt.
Exactly. So they sort of went, instead of just saying we're doing it in 15 days, because if you don't do it in 15 days, you're going to look at that as a failure.
Yeah.
And you might have other people go, we didn't do it in 15 days like you said.
Yeah.
So we'll set it for 15 days, but if it lasts a bit longer, it lasts a bit longer.
Yeah.
If it goes shorter, then that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But I can't see myself doing any shorter than 15.
I get that.
Even that's 2 marathons a day.
But, I mean, just the journey of going from a kid who doesn't like running to, I'm going to run the length of the UK in about 15 days.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get to that? Like, why endurance running for that matter? I mean, you could have been just a general long distance. You could have been marathon.
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison made a point he didn't want to go down the Olympic route because it didn't suit his body type. Did that come into factors for you?
I didn't really give it that much thought. I remember sat there. I came up with the idea when I was meant to be doing my dissertation.
Mm-hmm.
So I was meant to be sat there doing some work, and instead I was thinking about stuff. I was like, what can I do that's going to challenge me? I was like, do another marathon. I was like, no, because I've got to the point where marathons aren't really that challenging to an extent. Like, I can do a marathon, and then I could probably do one a week after.
Right.
Or if not, like 5 days after.
How did you even get to that? I mean, what other like sports were you doing? Or was it just running?
I did a lot of cycling. So I had a lot of cycling behind me. So I had quite a strong aerobic system.
Okay.
And then it was just transferring that over to running, which is quite difficult. It's a lot more difficult than I thought. I realised after I did my first run, I was like, okay, cycling and running are two very different sports, not
Yeah.
just because you sit down on one, but just the way they tax the body. But going back to how I came up with the idea, I was like, I need something crazy. I was like, what if I was to run the whole length of the UK? Got on my Mac, googled it. I was like, it's been done in 9 days, which means if I do it in 15 days, that's just under double what the world record is. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's doable.
Yeah.
But I definitely think I'm that sort of person that I don't really want to do something everyone else has done.
Yeah, no, I'm
like-
behind that. Yeah.
Or like, I'm not saying what everyone else has done, but like, my sort of idea is I want to go to the moon.
Yeah. No, I
And
get
I
that.
almost feel like I want to keep saying I want to go to the moon
Yeah.
until someone goes, right, that's it, Jake, you're going to the moon, send them to the moon.
Yeah.
Like, I
yeah.
hope one day that Virgin just jump on and go, right, come on, you're going to the moon.
Yeah.
And that would be my idea of like,
No,
a challenge.
I'm totally behind that. I mean, obviously, as you grow up as a kid, they're like, right, what kind of job do you want? We're basically going to push you through the system, and you're going to, either you're going to get through it, and you're going to become that person you wanted to
Yeah.
be, whether it's a lawyer, policeman, whatever. For me, I always felt like this isn't what I want to do. But not in a sense of, okay, now it's time to be rebellious. I mean, I would still do it. I'll still do the exams. Because at the end of the day, I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just knew this wasn't it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for me, that's when I kind of got into photography. I started really enjoying that, and then it just kind of blossomed. And then as I got good at photography, I'm like, right, okay, I'm good at that. Let's try something else. And then for me, it was video. And I went back. I did 2 years in college, then went back to do a different course, and that was basically teaching me radio. That was teaching me podcasts. That was graphic design, movie making, documentary making. Like, they literally just give you all of this, and you walk out of the course, and it's like, I'm a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Like, now I have the confidence to
That's
say,
it.
right, I want to go down into graphic design. I've got the tools. I know how to use it. I'll just go and do it.
It gives you that platform to start with.
Yeah, and I think
'Cause
that's...
you look at a Swiss Army knife and it's like you're not going to build a house with a Swiss Army knife, but you can start. You've got that basis of...
Yeah, I think
I've got that bottom line knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I believe everyone can be a Swiss Army knife. I mean, the idea is as a mental thing. You can't be great at everything, but you can be good at it.
Exactly. You can be good at a lot of things,
Yeah.
and you can perfect a few things,
Exactly.
but you can't be perfect at everything.
Your love affair for what you do is what's going to make you great. If
Yeah.
you don't love it, you're never going to be great at it.
Well, you're
And-
never going to put the time into it, because if you don't love it, it's just like when I didn't like running,
Yeah.
I didn't go running.
Yeah.
And I still hold to this day, I think my parents, being that I live with them, probably know it the best. If I don't want to run,
Yeah.
I ain't doing a run on that day. Like,
Yeah.
everyone in the world and his wife can come and tell me to go for a run. I'm not going for a run if I don't want to.
No, I get
I'm not
that.
going for a cycle if I don't want to.
Yeah.
But it's that whole, when I'm like in the mode for it, I'm like, I want to go running.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
I just
you
wanna
you
feel
are
that
quite
again.
literally like an on and off switch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
I
an
think,
extent.
I mean, for me, I probably bite my tongue and do it at like my worst performance, and I probably turn around after like a few
Yeah.
minutes. Like, I would go out and just say like, yeah, I went out, I tried,
there's
I came back
definitely
in.
that. I know when I've got to get it done, it's going to get done.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of trains going into running in the country.
Oh,
It's not
God,
as simple
yeah.
as just put your running shoes
Well, you
on.
got to think about terrain. You got to think of your
Yeah,
route. I
there's
mean,
a lot to that, and there's that. But I know that I'm almost just building the mind. It's all about
Yeah.
the mind, because the physical body. I always say, like, there's this theory that when you think you're at your max, you're actually at 40%.
yeah,
And when you hear about all these fantastic athletes and fantastic endurance people, 9 out of 10 times it's because they've learned how to override that handbrake at 40% and use that handbrake at 100,
no,
or
totally.
just push it past 100.
Yeah,
So the body can do a lot more than you think. Even
Yeah.
if you don't think you're a physical person, you probably are.
Well,
you just
they-
haven't got the mental aptitude.
I mean,
do that.
as like a little sidestep, I mean, they also say about the human body, like, we only really use about 60% of our true strength. They say the other 40 or 30%, like, is a study I briefly read. And they were saying that when you're in crisis, so say you're involved in a car accident, like, you hear the stories about a man going to lift up a car to try and pull his partner out. And it's like, well, how do you get the strength? And they say that your body is capable of going 100% max, but the problem with that is because your muscles are so strong, they'll rip the tendons from the bone.
Yeah.
That's why you can't just do it all the time.
That's
So
just it. I think, and also it's the mental side of it.
oh, I think
When
the
you
mental
know
game
you've got
is
to
a big
push
thing.
through, you know, when you know that this is it. You
Yeah.
sort of, you almost get that rush,
Mm.
and that's what I like to chase. I do
No,
like the
I
rush.
get that. I think as well, especially in, I mean, anything really. I mean, you can take any discipline, and you can, in terms of externally, you can be good at it, but a lot of it's internal.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
the brain's a powerful thing to make you do something, but it's also a powerful brain to make you not do something.
I think the most important thing is understanding the brain. The brain is your biggest tool. It's your biggest. It's your sole purpose. No one can take it away from you.
Yeah.
That's yours.
You also gotta look
And
after
once
it
you
as
once
well.
you learn how you can use that to your advantage, it just opens the world up.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people start to forget,
Yeah.
especially in sport. And going back to the gym idea,
Mm.
you know, everyone's in the gym training, get the abs out, you know, get ready for summer, all of this, summer body, or just looking good from the outside.
Absolutely.
That's great, but they completely neglect what's going on up in the little
Yeah, I mean,
nut.
I
And that's
think
your golden nugget. That's your
Yeah,
key.
I think even with like
because
anything,
that's-
it's always external. You're always looking at data, but the data won't tell you you're having a bad day.
Exactly, your brain will.
Yeah.
And it's this, once you harness your brain and what your brain can do, you realise the power of it.
Mm.
And that sounds really deep, I know, but the
Yeah.
mind is a powerful tool.
And you've been through a lot of that though, haven't you? Because I mean,
Yeah, so I've had my fair share of ups and downs,
yeah,
and running definitely helps out. If not, sometimes it aggravates it.
right,
So I struggle with my anxiety a lot.
yeah,
So I'm quite an anxious person, but I've got my brother and sister, and I'm going to throw them under the bus a bit here.
yeah,
But my brother and sister, if you were to put them in a room with 10 people they didn't know, they'd be very shy.
yeah.
They would probably not talk, and they would struggle to engage a
Articulate,
bit.
yeah.
One's an actor, so my brother used to be an actor,
Yeah,
and my sister's a ballet dancer.
Right.
So used to performing in front of hundreds of people.
yeah,
Then you get me,
yeah,
put me in a room with 10 people, and I'll chat for days.
yeah.
I'll go
yeah,
up to them, I'll go, hi, my name's Jake, how are you, what's your name? Let's
Yeah.
go and do this.
yeah.
That was great when I was a kid, but I do struggle with my anxiety, and I hide it with things.
Yeah,
And it's only through the past year that I've learned to open up a bit,
yeah.
understand what's causing my anxiety. I did a bit of CBT for 10 weeks,
What's CBT?
cognitive behaviour therapy. So it's basically understanding what a behaviour is in a sense.
Right.
So when I feel anxious, it's about quickly pausing in that moment. I go, right, why am I feeling anxious? Oh, I've got a deadline. It was especially at uni, but I've got a deadline due. Why is that making me anxious? Okay, it's making me anxious because if I don't hand it in, I'm going to fail this module. If I fail this module, I'm going to fail the course. That's why I'm anxious. And once you understand why you're feeling something, you suddenly can put sort of a dampener on it in a sense, but you're not just covering it up, you're understanding it. And I remember in the first session of CBT, the woman said that my therapist, she was like, you have 1 million feelings and thoughts a day. The only ones you remember are the ones you attach emotion to. So, you know, if you go back, think about the past or something, and you put a sad connotation or emotion to the past, you remember that thought. But you don't remember the other 1 million that have passed because you didn't put any emotion on that.
No, I get that.
So, in a way, it's becoming a little bit emotionless, but
yeah.
it's about just understanding.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it's about emotion. I mean, emotion is a very powerful human association sort of thing. Like, if you're happy, you can have a really good day, and you're positive about everything. I mean, you could literally walk down the road, trip up, you're having a good day, you just get back up and carry on. But then if you're feeling sad, miserable, I mean, you can use any words you want, really. You fall over. You're like, oh, there's a reason for that. Oh, it's because I'm a piece of shit. And then, boom, you're down the different alley.
You're down that gutter and you don't want to be there.
And I think, I mean, for me, when I was younger, I was always the shy kid because people used, I mean, a few kids used to say, oh, I sound funny because I had a really strong Zimbabwean accent.
Yeah.
And they've never heard it before. But I think once I started working, I got into retail and I started teaching, I was like, okay, this is a different side to me, and I open up a bit more in confidence. I still have my bad days when stuff piles on, but
Exactly,
I mean, I do take those pauses. I'm like, right, why am I feeling like this?
I think as well, what you just said there is something that I found, especially this year, because I struggled for about 3 years with my anxiety, and it brought on depression and stuff a bit. and I never knew how to deal with it, so I never told anyone.
No.
For 3 years, I covered it up, didn't tell a word to anyone. Led me down a bit of a dark path with other stuff, but then this year reached out for a little bit of help, spoke to my parents, and that's where we got the ball rolling with everything. And through this year, I've thrown myself into the deep end a bit with stuff, and it's just like what you said there. You know, you're a little bit maybe self-conscious of the fact that you had a strong accent, so you went and did teaching in retail, where you're speaking to people on a daily basis. For someone who's struggling with their confidence from their accent, you've then gone, right, I'm going to put myself in the most uncomfortable situation and become comfortable. And I think that's what I love about endurance running, especially and I'm a massive fan of the Royal Marines and the Commanders and stuff. I've always loved that. And their motto is they want to perform at their best when they feel their worst. And that's how I feel sometimes when I'm sort of 40 miles into a run. It's like I'm feeling absolutely tears. But it's at that point that I still need to function at my best. Whereas you look at someone like Harrison, who's an elite athlete, you know, he trains to perform at his best when he feels his best. So a week before race day, a week before, he's eating good food still. He's working his training. He's really meticulous with his numbers. You know, I'm not overtrained. Whereas for me, it's like I've just got to get out there, but we're still performing at our best, just in different emotions. But like I said, I think by throwing yourself in the deep end, it's really scary. Like,
I think
it's really scary, but there's nothing worse that can happen.
I mean, the thing is as well, like, I've had friends, like, they got thrown in the deep end and it's done the complete opposite. Like, you, as a person, you have to be partially willing to do it, knowing that there is a very favourable outcome. If you go in there and like, oh, I went bright red, oh, I stuttered, oh, I did this and that, and then you just start working your way back, and now you're just thinking of excuses not to speak to anyone, and then you just like stop turning up at work. Like, that's when it becomes an issue. And I think it definitely helps having the mental capability of saying, I need help and this will help, rather than saying, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. Because if you're going with that sort of mentality, you are literally just going to do a twin cost on your mental health, and you could go one way or the other.
I think mental resilience comes into it as well. I think as a society we're not very resilient.
No, I do feel like as
throws everyone under the bus a bit.
I
think, and everyone sees resilience in a different way.
Big time.
But I think as a society we're quite unresilient to things. And we're very quick to just give up.
I also feel like as a society, because we're so interconnected with each other, we kind of feel like if we turn to someone, problem solved. Like, if you have a wall that needs to be built, you go to a builder, you get the wall built. If you need your car checked, you go to a mechanic and get the car checked. But then when it comes to, oh, I'm not feeling very good, I think I might be depressed, I go see someone, they'll fix me. That's not the case.
All they're doing is verifying your feelings for you.
They're literally just saying, yes, you are depressed. That's literally what they'll do in the beginning.
Exactly.
And then from there on, it's on you. Like, as understanding of, because I mean, I'll go through it now. I've never actually been depressed, but I've come close to. I've for myself, I've been able to be like, okay, there's the line, and then if I continue past this line, then I will go through depression. And I've been able to. I mean, I'm being very thankful and being able to see that line, mainly because my mum and dad pointed it out. And like, if you feel like this means you're not having a good day. It's not your fault. Take some time out. You're working too much, and you're thinking about things you don't need to worry about. And I think a lot of pressure is put on us, especially as kids, as teenagers. I mean, this is like societal. This isn't even down to gender or anything like that. This is just like through school. We've always been told that we're special. We can do anything. We can be anything we want.
It's the worst thing.
Great motivators, but when that kid has a very tough background in life, and then they go into education, and no one's there to support them and tell them that they're special, because as you know, the older you get, the teachers say it less and less. And they're just like, you're going to fail.
And it goes back to that. This is a weird one. For me, failure is you've got to fail to succeed.
Big time.
Everyone knows that. That's like literally the equation. If you don't fail, you can't succeed.
Guaranteed.
But I think it's understanding what failure is.
That's a good
I think
point.
a lot of people sort of... I mean, let's take it for this. I was meant to run the South Downs Way just before we did that photo shoot. Was it just after?
I want to say
I want to say it was just before.
I want to say it was just before because I remember you briefly talking about it.
Yeah, so
yeah, which is why I didn't want to destroy you when we went out for our shoot.
That's it. Yeah. So it's 100 miles, and I was planning to do it with my dad as like a little support vehicle. He's amazing. He did everything for me.
Awesome.
But I didn't finish it.
No.
I pulled out. I pulled the pin. I said, no, I can't do this. And for a while, I wallowed on that and thought I failed. I haven't done what I set out to do. But sometimes, I remember the first, I did it over 2 days. So Saturday and Sunday. The Saturday was really hot, like 25 degrees.
Oh, you went one of the hot days.
It
I
was
remember
really
it now.
horrid.
Yeah.
I was sweating buckets. I think I went through so much water. I think I must have gone through one of those big 5-litre kegs.
Eeks.
We were just filling it up. I was having like hydro tablets. I was pretty uncomfortable in the heat. And we finished, I think the first day we did about 37 or 38 miles. And we finished and we drove to where we were staying.
And just to clarify for everyone, this isn't like running on a pathway or down a
No,
road.
it's all like trails and it's all off-road.
Yeah.
So it wasn't comfy.
No.
I was in quite a bit of pain. My knees were a bit shot. My feet were quite sore.
Yeah.
Got home, had a bath, had some really good food. Woke up the next morning and it was raining. It was 10 degrees.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a different ballpark. And it was. And I just kept on pushing as far as I could. I got to about 45 or 50 miles in total. I was just like, nah, I can't do this. It shot me. And for me, I saw that as Mother Nature giving me a bit of a kick in the butt cheeks. I was like,
it's like,
this is like, you thought this was going to be an easy 100 miles. I'm going to put you back to reality.
We're just going to flip the weather. We're going to flip you 180.
Exactly.
So you literally got a taste of the worst and the worst
exactly.
on 2 different spectrums.
But going back to what is failure, I could have sat there and gone, I failed. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. But I think you've always got to put reality over expectation.
Yeah.
And for me, there's an equation. It doesn't really make sense, and a lot of people question me on it. I say reality over expectation equals happiness.
No, I've heard that one. Yeah, no, it makes sense because it's
if you expect things, and you put that above what's actually possible, you're gonna end up being unhappy. Because you're not gonna achieve. Whereas if you go right, reality is I probably wasn't I hadn't trained maybe enough, or in fact I probably overtrained. So I was fatigued. I was sore. I wasn't quite prepared. As great as my dad was as a support vehicle, he could have probably had some more help from others. And there's so many other factors that I could have put in. So I'm like, actually, reality is I didn't do too bad.
No, and I think
I'll come back to it and I'll do even better next time.
Well, the thing is, like, you're literally building this up. You're pushing your levels. You're understanding your body, your brain, for those 15 days of what I think we both know is going to be hell.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to go 15 days, go for a little run.
Yeah.
It's none of that.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be grueling, but I think mentally, you're like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of you, and I think failure is going to get you there. You can succeed every single time, but every time you succeed, you're not looking at the numbers. Because you're too busy out there celebrating, and you're like, oh, I don't need to look, I did it right, it's all good, I'll just carry on. I'll just do what I did.
It's that classic thing, and I think, obviously, we're both on social media a lot. That's how I sort of got in touch with you, but I used to, when I first started this whole running thing, posted like every day. Yeah,
I vaguely remember. Yeah, because you came to me quite early on. Yeah.
I was posting a lot, and it's almost like you post as much as you can. You post the good bits.
Yeah.
No one talks about waking up at 5 a.m. to run. As beautiful as it is, maybe sometimes. No one talks about the painful massages. I know it sounds really weird. Sports massages.
No, I understand.
Yeah, they're not like
deep tissue.
Deep tissue massages. No one talks about the blisters of the toenails losing. No one talks about the tight calves. No one talks about eating so much food all the time that you feel like full, and you still know you've got to eat like a bowl of rice.
Yeah.
Like, no one talks about the bad stuff. We put this filter on everything, and I put a filter on my life for a long time with my mental health.
Yeah.
I remember when I sat down in the doctor's surgery with my GP. He's a fantastic guy. I really like him as a doctor. I'm really lucky. I was sat with my dad, and the way the doctor sort of understood the situation, he obviously read it. Dad, 21-year-old lad, and me as a doctor. And he asked me what fine meant. like the word fine, Fine. I was like, shit, he's gonna come out with some like medical term. I was like, I do sports science. I was like thinking like, oh, acronyms. What could it be? What could it be?
Yeah.
I went, I'm not sure. He went, it means you're fucked up, you're insecure, you're needy, and you're emotional.
Love it.
And I was
That's
like,
brilliant.
I was like, that's amazing. And that is so the run we're calling the I'm fine run.
Yeah.
Because we always go, yeah, I'm fine. You know?
Yeah.
Because if you say, how are you? I go, actually, I'm not too great today. You're either going to bombard me with questions that I maybe don't want to answer.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to look at you and go, oh shit, the shutters have gone down on Luke.
Yeah.
He's like, Jake's about to pour his heart out
Yeah,
about some sort
yeah.
of thing that's bothering.
Well, the thing is, I think as well, like when people ask and they expect that, oh, I'm good, how are you?
Yeah.
And then they get, oh, I'm not doing too good. They're like, oh, shit.
And yeah, exactly. We
They're
don't.
like, okay.
So we pull this filter and we pull the wool over the eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a massive thing.
Yeah. I think for me, like when it came to social media, I had an Instagram account when I first started. And then there was this big buzz around, oh, the more followers you have, the more successful you are. So then I basically did what everyone else did and bought followers.
Right.
Which was awesome. You know, you're like, oh, I got 2,000 followers. This is fantastic. People are seeing my work. No one was hiring me.
No.
I just got more likes on my page. I was no more popular than I was when I didn't do it.
Exactly.
And then I went down the route of film, like, oh, I'll be more artistic. And then as I was doing it, I was doing it as a photographer. So it wasn't like I'm doing it because it's trendy. I'm doing it because my granddad was a photographer. My dad, you know, he would do quite a bit of photography. I wanted to learn. But the one thing I discovered very quickly about that is everyone's trying to be edgy and cool. And I was actually saying it to my girlfriend the other night. We were just like lying in bed and I was going through Instagram and I follow a few film accounts and a few hashtags on Instagram and half of them are just like girls in white tops with no bra underneath. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what about it? Like there's no storytelling. I mean, street photography, different story. Street photography, the story's there. Like there's no need to go into it. I mean, you can say, oh, what's that person going up to? But when you're literally taking a picture of a person half naked hanging out of a window or some bizarre thing, it's already done. It's on Pinterest. Like that's probably where you got the idea from. And I'm not slating the photographers who go out there and are doing something different. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that are just doing it for the sake that it's cool. They probably build up a good following from it.
Yeah.
And as a photographer,
doing it for the trend.
Exactly. And I think and I think in every single situation, especially in photography, if you go over to if you ever look at pictures of London, they're all from the same aspects. They're all photos of London Bridge or London Tower Bridge from this angle, and then people go out and they recreate it. They'll shoot
they
through
do slightly different,
and they all do it slightly different, but it's exactly the damn same.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where Instagram basically kills what it's trying to be, because it's trying to get people to open up, but now they've opened up.
But we're still putting that filter over.
There's a trend set, and I think there's a lot of people in the world that are sheep.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it bluntly. And
100%.
then you got those that are leaders. But then you got the people that are sheep, but they got there first.
Yeah.
And those are the people that other sheep look to.
Yeah.
And then you basically just created this never-ending circle of taking the same shit and doing it over and over.
I think you nailed the word there, trend. And I think that's what Instagram is. It's just one big trend. Certain times of the year, there'll be different trends. And I've got to be really careful how I talk about it. Mental health is a big trend now. Which is fantastic.
Yes,
we
but
need
it
to be
does
talking
bring
about
out
it.
some...
Yeah, we need to be talking about it. People need to be getting in touch with their emotions. You know?
Yes.
I think, for me, my life has changed since I started talking about it.
Yes.
But I know I wouldn't recommend to 90% of people what I do.
No.
99% of people.
Yeah.
They're talking about it so openly.
Yeah.
For some people that won't work.
No.
And...
it will make them more insecure.
Exactly. And I think as good as it is that we're all talking, we have barely scraped the surface. You know, you're never going to get to the nut, but we're like, we haven't even scraped the surface.
I think the problem is as well is they keep seeing like we can cure it. Like there's going to be some magic pill.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say there's any cure.
There is. I'm not saying there is either.
No,
and I think that's the problem. We live in a world where everything has an answer.
Yeah. And
I feel a lot of cases people are like, oh, as we said earlier in the podcast, oh, if I go see someone, they'll fix me. Like, and we both know that's not how it works. I learnt very quickly, like, sometimes you just gotta have a good cry.
Exactly.
Like, you just let it out. I mean, you'll feel so
crying
much
is
better.
Amazing.
There was one time, I shit you not, I don't know why, I was feeling really crappy. This is a good few years ago, and I just had a cry. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why I had it. And then I went out and did a shoot. It was like one of the best shoots I ever did. Like, and there's no correlation to it. There's no link to it. I just felt better.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just need to have a cry. And you're not crying because you're depressed. You're crying because you have this pent-up emotion, and you're just opening the bottle and pouring it out.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a cry.
You're just releasing
a
bit of steam.
Especially men.
Yeah.
Men can cry. You don't need to be the tough guy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, we're learning that now, but still,
I think we're learning that the whole maybe action man sort of like mindset.
Oh, it didn't
that
help.
We've got to be chiseled men, hardened, never cry, never talk about being depressed, never talk about being anxious.
No.
But actually, there's nothing wrong with it, and if anything, it makes you a stronger person.
Makes you human.
To be able to open up about your emotions.
You're a human. I mean, that's what I mean, that's the way the body copes. And when you stop the body from coping that way, it's going to find something else to do.
Exactly.
Like, everything always finds a way out. And I think a lot of people, especially a few men, they struggle with that. Because they've grown up in a household where their father has been that action man.
Yeah.
They probably, maybe on the far end of the spectrum, they're ex-army, navy, and that was literally like pounded into them, because back then the army would literally beat you into shape.
Yeah.
And nowadays, mental health is taking more of a turn. So now when your dad probably catches you crying, that's going to then set off a negative thing. And then you never cry again. Because you remember that day, you remember that moment. And that's when people seal up. But that's why you lock the door.
It's just support networks as well.
Friends, family.
People are starting, now we're talking about it more, people are starting to realise what support networks they can have. So we're seeing a lot, like for me, my family are just amazing. Like, sounds very cringy saying that, but I would not be anywhere near where I am today.
Yeah.
Because they've been there in the moments, they've been there when I've been my most upset and anxious, and they've been there for when I've managed to overcome those and do some amazing stuff. But alongside that, for my friends, and I think the problem with mental health problems and like issues is you cut yourself off because you believe you're the only person to ever feel like this.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember talking to about a friend about it. I was like, when I felt depressed and anxious, I was like, the reason I don't want to tell anyone is because no one understands.
Yeah.
No one's going to understand what I feel like. No one's going to know why, and no one's going to know what to do to help me. Because I'm the only person in the world to feel like this. It's only when you actually start talking about your depression and anxiety or other mental health issues that you suddenly realise that it's the biggest club in the world. It's the biggest club in the world, and the only difference, everyone's the same. There's no difference between depression between you and me, or anxiety between you and me. The only difference is our backstory.
Yeah.
The reasons why I'm feeling a bit low and anxious are different to you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean our feelings aren't the same.
No, I get that. I mean,
I think once you understand that, you realise that it's not about.
Because happiness is happiness and sadness is sadness. I mean, the background story can change, but those emotions remain the same.
Yeah, I think past and present always is a good way of thinking. Past, present, and future, keeping everything in perspective.
Yeah.
I think some people focus too much on the past and too much on the future, and I've always said anxiety is thinking about the future, depression is talking about your past or thinking about your past, and happiness is being present.
I feel that.
If you can spend as much time in the present day, because you can't live in the should have, could have, would have.
Yep.
They don't exist.
Oh, if you live in that world, you're always going to be there.
If you live in the should have, could have, would have, you're never going to achieve anything near your potential. You'll achieve stuff.
No.
But it won't be your absolute potential.
I think people need to realise if they're listening to this and they're feeling that they should have, would have, could have, you can change that.
Exactly, and it's the most frustrating thing. Like when I talk to a lot of people on a day-to-day basis, they go, "Oh, I should have done this today, or I could have done this today." I'm like, "Well, who gives a shit now?"
Yeah, it's over.
Stop wallowing about it. You should have done it. You didn't do it.
Yeah.
What can you do though?
Yeah,
you can go and do it now though.
Yeah.
So let's stop thinking about it. And there's that. I think that backtracks to that mental resilience. There's understanding when to stop and go, whoa, I've past that line you're talking about.
Yeah.
I need to backtrack and just get in touch. And then there's, okay, I'm not near that line yet, so I just need to actually crack on a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I get running from.
In terms of the resilience, you know, I mean, there is a mental toughness to it. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm tough, but I'm resilient to my own thoughts. If I have an issue, I can sit down with myself and I can process it. To me, that is what tough is.
Yeah.
Tough isn't just putting it behind and putting up a facade of saying, oh, I'm fine, I'm good, you know, how you doing? And then just bottling it up. And I think that's when society needs to open up to. Just because you can have two people in the room, both of them are resilient and tough, one of them suffering with mental health issues, doesn't mean you've got to pair them up together. Sometimes, if you're resilient, tough, and you can listen to yourself, then good. But if you're someone who doesn't do that, you should acknowledge it and then seek advice and seek counsel. And then go see someone about it, because there's no point putting on the facade, because that is just going to get worn away and chipped away, and then you're going to have would you say you'd have a big breakdown at the end?
Yeah. Well, for me it was definitely a big breakdown. Where for everyone else, mine sort of accumulated in a big, almost, I look at it like a volcano.
Right.
So I always look at my mind like a little volcano, and it has its moments where you get in a volcano, you get cracks along the side, and that's where the lava comes out. Now and again I'll go, oh, that's not gone quite right, I'll get that back in, but it's alright, everything's still sort of in there. But as it goes, the volcano gets more tense, and suddenly boom, you've got that eruption. And it's really tough because you get that eruption, it's very quick, it's over in a matter of minutes. And the problems normally stem for me as the dust settles. And you've got to allow that sort of month or two. For me, I take about a month or two to actually, so I can actually go back and reassess it.
Yeah.
It takes me about a month because I'm like, there's so many other factors that just need to chill out.
Yeah.
And when I the best way I used to just, I told my parents how I felt, was I was like, someone would ask me, how are you feeling? And I was like, I don't know how to describe it apart from chaos. In here,
I feel that.
It was like there was so much external stuff, and this is where we go back to social media. I think as a young audience, I think I look at my mum and dad. They have social media accounts, but
they didn't grow up with it.
My dad definitely is nothing like me. You know,
he
won't take his phone everywhere. My phone's on the windowsill, hands width
mine's,
from me.
I mean, for us, it's always
we're connected.
Reach. Yeah.
So we're constantly taking on information. We're the most, I don't know, I would say technical, advanced? I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word. But we're basically just sucking data up. That's what the media are doing, you know. We're pumped it. And when we're not, we have a little freak out. Yeah. But for me, I was taking on all this information, but I didn't know how to outlet it. I wasn't sure what to do with it.
And it doesn't help.
I was running out of space in my brain, and it was like,
But it's also like when you're just fulfilled with all these clickbaity things, and it's just like, I mean, I think what is kind of messed up, and it's been really effective in a marketing sense, is playing on people's emotions.
Yeah.
They can get you riled up for something that really is pretty inconsequential. And I think that's a big factor, is everyone's, you know, there's this whole idea of being united together. And that's great. I love the principle of it. But you're kind of having to put on all these big, heavy titles. And what you're basically doing is saying, hey, you there, you're a piece of shit. If you join us, you won't be.
Exactly.
And then that's when you get this.
It's understanding how much media is actually, the perspective can be turned completely.
Absolutely.
So I did media studies at GCSE.
Oh yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I love it.
But I remember this. It was poignant, I'd say. We had one lesson, and it was right near the beginning, and the teacher was trying to explain perspective of media, and he had two photos, one by the Times and one by the Sun.
I know where you're going with this.
So the Sun had a photo of this obvious person who was in a war zone, and it had a soldier giving them water, and that was the photo. And it was like a headline. I don't know what the headline was. But then the Times actually had the full photo. And when they blow out from what the Sun had, actually this person had a gun pointing to their head and were a prisoner and they were being given water. But hang on a second, we've got same photo, but a complete different perspective, and it gives you a complete different mindset on that photo. You suddenly go, oh wait a second, what's going on here? That's a different story. 1 second I thought it was this, now it's this.
Yeah, and I do feel like we live in that polarized world.
And we live in that world where we can flip like a switch. We are switches.
And I think also the problem was we live in such a divisive time where from one group you're either seen on the wrong or right side of history, but the problem is both sides seem they're on the right side of history. But the only thing is time will tell who was right and who was wrong. And the problem is going to come when the right and wrong starts to balance out, and the team that wasn't actually on the right, they're going to start feeling repercussions, and then the winning team, let's call them that for now, you're either going to say, you know what, don't worry about it, just, you know, come with us, we'll show you what we've been talking about, we'll help you into the society that we wanted for everyone.
Yeah.
And you're going to get that small few like, haha, you were wrong, I was right, you can stay where you are. And that's going to be a problem for people.
Yeah.
And I think, and I mean, dialing it back to like social media and mental health, I think people need to think for themselves more. Don't just read a headline. Do your research. For me,
yeah, definitely think for yourself, because going off that, I always go back and think of stuff because that's the only way I can.
Backtracking. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember when I first started counselling or CBT.
Yeah.
I sort of was like talking to the lady, and she went, my counsellor, and she was like, you always seek, like, I don't know what the word is, like, seek someone saying, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
In a sense.
You always seek the
So what
answer.
I used to do is, if I had a panic, I'd text my dad. I'd be like, Dad, is this right? Have I made the right call? But we're always asking someone to quantify what we feel.
Yeah.
Or what we're doing. And I think social media, I'm going to throw us all under the bus as the younger generation, we're shit at communicating.
Oh, we're terrible.
God, and that is the biggest problem.
And you know what the problem is?
We're bad at communicating, we're bad at connecting, because we're through our phones.
Yeah.
We can connect through our phones, we can send a text, but text, we all know, has no feeling. How many times, I always use emojis, I love emojis.
Yeah,
And
I think
an
emoji
can help us a little bit.
But it could also destroy
if you
us at
say
the same
okay
time.
with an upside down smiley face and winky face, people go, oh, that's a bit different. If I just went okay,
you're like,
we go, oh, Jake's annoyed. What have I said? Have I done something wrong?
Oh, he's in the mood, isn't
Exactly.
he? Yeah.
So we're really bad, and then we don't know how to communicate on a face-to-face issue.
And I think the problem, I mean, it even blends into the older generation. They just share news articles and websites, and they're like, oh, read this, it speaks to me. I'm like, does it though? Or do you want to give off that facade that it speaks to you, so you can carry on living this life and being in this bubble? And I think a problem, and I think it's a great way people are talking about it, is we all live in this bubble, and the minute someone pushes something up against that bubble, then we start getting a bit freaked out.
We get a bit uncomfortable.
And sometimes that thing pushing up to that bubble is the truth.
Yeah.
And that's when people aren't ready for it. Because sometimes I think you need to have your bubble popped, so then you can see the whole story. And for me, in terms of like a mental capacity, I'm very much, I just sit on the fence, I read both sides of an argument, and I make up my own opinion. Yeah. I'm not going to take a side. I'm just like, okay, cool, and then just carry on walking.
Yeah.
We live in a world where it's very much, you know, are you team A, team B, team red, team blue, team 1, team 2? Whose side are you on? And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be on a side.
Yeah.
I just want to be me, do me, and I'm cool. I don't need to join a team.
I'm happy doing me.
I don't need to go out and, you know, protest this, that, the next thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that I don't support it, I do. I just don't feel like I need to go, you know, be part of that team. There's one time, the minute you join, in many cases, you're not allowed to leave.
You limit yourself.
Exactly, and if you stay there, you're basically in this cult, as it were, and you're kind of stuck there. And if you say one wrong thing, then you get kicked out.
Yeah.
But then you're made an outsider, and now Team 1 won't take you.
So now you're on your own again.
And that's where you need to be happiest.
But again, I think it all just comes back to the same word: resilience.
Big time.
It just everything for me, life, mental health, running, photography, social media, anything.
And we do live in a world where they try and make things easy for us, and I think that's the problem.
They make it easy, and that's the thing. And I'm a massive fanboy of Ant Middleton. Love him to bits. He's the SAS U Day 20s guy. Hard man. looks like it looks like he'd knock a brick out.
Oh yeah, I know the guy. Yeah.
But he did a talk, and he was saying that he was on holiday once, and he's got five or four kids. I think 4 kids. And at this point, the swimming pool they're at was like a natural one.
Right.
It was really, really cold.
Right.
And he had a 5-year-old son and his 3-year-old daughter. His 5-year-old son got in and found it a bit cold, and his little daughter started crying. Now most parents would go, "Oh, don't worry, wrap you up." Being an SAS guy, he picked her up, put her in.
Yeah.
She carried on crying.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was probably looking at me going, oh, is he going to take her out at any point? She's hating it. After about 5 minutes, she stopped crying. After 10 minutes, she started jumping on her brother's back, enjoying it. He slipped out the pool 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
And it's this idea that, you know, at the start, she didn't think she'd like it. Yeah, she started going through it. It was like, I still don't like it. But then she became a bit more comfortable and then realised, do you know what, I've got through the hard bit.
Yeah.
Now I can have fun.
And in terms of like a life skill, that's basically saying just because you don't enjoy it doesn't mean you don't do it. Like sometimes
at the end of the day,
you
got to do stuff you don't like.
Yeah, I mean that's life.
And
for
if you don't, then you're never going to make it.
Not everything's going to be sunshine and daisies. Like sometimes you're going to have those days where you'll be stuck in front of a computer when you're normally, you know, out and about running.
Yeah.
But you got admin work to do. You don't want to do it. You're just going to power through it, and eventually, you know, a couple of years down the line, you'll just build it into your routine.
Yeah.
No,
I think if you look at any person, it doesn't even have to include wealth. Like, I've got an amazing friend, she's called Kira. If she ever comes back, we'll have to get on your podcast. Yeah. She's the most niche, amazing human you'll ever meet.
I'm down.
Okay, so I'm talking. This girl is like pro traveller.
Right. Okay.
Like she puts travelling, but she at the minute is in Java.
Okay.
But she literally bought a ticket one way, indefinitely. Wasn't sure when she was going to come back. And she's just gone. And she eats noodles, samosas, surfs, lays on the beach, has a great time.
That's like the most person in the world.
That sounds the most amazing thing. But I know for a fact that she's had to do 8 months working in a pub that she didn't really enjoy.
Yeah.
As well as working in Skylark, as well as working a few other jobs.
Yeah.
So she did 4 jobs or so, just so she could get the money to go and live this like lovely life in Java.
Yeah. Did you speak? Have you heard of a guy called Gary Vee?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's his thing. I mean, he's kind of changed it now, but it was like sometimes in life you got to eat shit.
Yeah.
Like you've got to have the crap food so you can save up.
But it's understanding that you've got to do that quick hard work, and normally the more successful people are, that hard work's done in silence.
Yeah.
And that's the same going back to
you don't need to glorify it on social media.
I don't need to tell you everything.
No.
But that doesn't mean that what you're seeing is everything.
Yeah.
I tend to say, my Instagram, as honest as it is, probably put about 20% on there.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally got to the point where I didn't put anything.
20% onto my Instagram.
Yeah.
And then the other 80% no one sees.
Yeah, I mean,
the limited few that maybe live with me or spend a lot of time with me probably see.
Yeah.
You know, so, because lately, going back to it, you know, lately I haven't run for, coming up to a week and a half now. I ran yesterday, actually, that's a lie. I ran yesterday.
But before
that, I hadn't run for a week and a half.
Yeah. And
most days, I'd slept in until about midday. But I didn't put that on my Instagram. I didn't tell people I've been fairly unmotivated because of the weather, or that I just could not be bothered.
Yeah. And
it's sad that I've felt like that. Yeah. And that's that sad feeling. But I've quantified it. I've gone, do you know why? I think I was fairly fatigued. I wanted rest. I didn't want to be getting up for
You just got to listen to your body.
Listen to your body. Body's a temple.
Oh, it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. But you can do a lot with your body. And I think people need to realise that...
You do a lot with the body if the mind is in tune.
Yes.
The second the mind is in tune and you harness that little golden nugget of yours, you're going to go a long, long way.
I think the case is as well, like, you can say you want to change, but just because you want to change doesn't mean you're just going to go, right, I've changed, cool.
There's wanting change and there's actually doing change.
Yeah.
And understanding that change is not going to happen by listening to Gary Vee 5 minutes before you go to bed. You're not going to wake up next Monday morning like, let's go start £1 million business. That's not how it's going to work. No. You can listen to Gary Vee before bed, but you've got to understand that in the morning you've got to get up, do some hard work. And I think as a society, we're not quite built for that.
And we're not. I think we're not supported in a way.
We're
also we live in a world where everything's just handed to you.
It's handed to you on a plate.
Or you can get it like there and then.
Yeah,
so
and that's going back to
it's instantaneous.
social media. It's instantaneous, and it's going back. I think I've spoken to you about it. Dopamine.
Yes.
So we had a bit of a deep chat. So for
for
anyone that doesn't understand dopamine, I'm going to go into this. I love this. This is a quick
this is like your field, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is everyone bangs on. It does make me laugh. Serotonin. I'm sure everyone's heard of it.
Yeah.
It's that chemical in the mind, and it makes you feel good. So if you eat some chocolate, it makes you feel good. If you go for a run, it makes you feel good. That's serotonin going into your brain. Dopamine is the same, but it's again a feel good emotion. It's a feel good hormone, and we get it normally from when we get things we want. Or, and I said, it's that classic thing when you're feeling a bit alone. What do? You go on your phone, you go on WhatsApp, you pop up 5 people, and you say hi, 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 hi. And you put it down. You sit there and wait. It buzzes. Oh.
Dopamine.
Oh, Luke said hi back. How are you, Luke?
Yeah.
Hit dopamine. And we're constantly hitting our brains with dopamine. And without even knowing, we're all addicted to it. You know? And that's what social media is. It's dangerous. And we're giving it to youngsters and saying, look, and it's almost like going to a kid who's 13, okay? And for people who think this is not true, I'm 100% down for it, because it is. Going with social media to a 13-year-old is like saying to a 13-year-old, you know, when life gets a bit hard, here's an alcohol cabinet. You know, when life gets a bit tough, go here, use this stuff. That'll make you feel better. It's the exact same for social media. It's an instantaneous hit. Oh, I'm getting a like on my Instagram. I've got another follower.
Ding.
I've got a really nice comment. Someone said I'm looking good today.
Yeah, and
it's that dope. We're looking for
also,
that
if you
feel good factor.
Yeah.
And we're not allowing ourselves to actually go, do you know what? Yeah, life's not great right now. I don't need loads of people telling me stuff. I don't need this information. I need to go and find my own
And also
cure.
as well with the phone, because we're always interconnected, you can see the notifications come up. So you put up a picture on Instagram and then suddenly your screen lights up and you're going ding, 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 ding. That's just dopamine going off in your head.
Seeing that like.
Oh, mate.
That little pink liker. Everyone loves it. That little pink love heart. When that little pink love heart notification comes up.
Yeah.
I've got into the habit now. I think it's really good. I don't know if you do it, but when I post an Instagram post, which used to be quite regularly and now not, I mute my notifications on Instagram.
Oh, I have it permanently.
Yeah.
Permanently muted. I mean, the thing is as well. I was going to say earlier, when it for me, because obviously you're very transparent on what you post. So you're having a shit day, you probably share it. If you're having a good day, you're going to share it. For me, I just post whenever I want to post.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not meeting
I think I'm starting to get more like that because I realised how intense Instagram is.
Yeah, the only reason I
really
don't
feel
post
sorry
all
for
the
all
time.
those influencers down there. That
Oh
have to do it
God,
every
tell
day.
me about
Jesus
it.
Christ.
I mean, no, it's not my life.
It's not a lifestyle I'll choose.
And it's just
Every
like
day.
you're constantly go. And I was like, look, I like this picture. I'm gonna share it with you. I'm not gonna go out of my way to go off into the sunset to take a picture of said sunset, come back, edit it, and then post it.
Yeah,
I used to be like that for a good year and a half.
Yeah.
That used to be, I was like, oh, I need to get a photo for Instagram. As a photographer, it was because I wanted to show my friends I was still alive. But at the end of the day, I'm like, they like my photo, but we don't exactly hang out. Like, they don't say, oh, let's meet up. Let's go do something. I mean, I'm guilty of it as well. I do say, oh, we should meet up sometime.
Yeah.
But it probably never happens. It might never happen.
It comes to this point, like, there's understanding who real connections are.
Yeah.
And you fast realise when you're struggling, when you're down maybe, and you're looking for that person to talk to. And I'm this guy, I'm very transparent. But I'd say there's about 10 people I can talk to.
Yeah.
That I feel comfortable enough to either cry in front of or really open up and go, right, this is the problem.
Yeah.
And I remember I heard Prince Harry, he did a podcast, it was a really good one. I'd recommend it to anyone who's listening to this one. It's Mad World. I'll put a link on Instagram somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But he, obviously, massive mental health advocate. He lost his mum at 12, bottled up for 10 years, or 15 years, I think it was, and it all came crashing out. And he went and saw what Americans call a shrink, but I guess we just call a counsellor.
Yeah.
And from doing my counselling, I recommend it to every single person. Do it on a Friday. Find someone who is probably a little bit qualified in listening to things, but there's so many services out there that you can talk to someone off the cuff.
Or even just call a helpline.
And yeah, call a helpline, call the Samaritans, it's what it's there for, something like that. You know, someone's there waiting for you to call. And you're not asking for help. You're not saying, excuse me, can you help me? You're just venting. And that's why I'm not going to say girls like it, because I think everyone likes to vent here and there.
I wouldn't mind.
But how good do you feel after a vent? You put it all in a text, or you rant to someone, you talk for like 5 minutes straight, that person doesn't say anything, and then afterwards you go, Christ, I feel $1 million. If we did that on a Friday evening, how much better would our weekends be? You go into the weekend, you know, because I think what gets people down, and it's an accumulation of the day-to-day shit. Nothing, let's be honest for everyone, not a lot of big stuff happens regularly.
No.
You might have a really sad, like a family member passes away.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen every day.
No.
That might happen once every 2, 3, 5, maybe once every 10 years.
Yeah.
That is different. But I think what a lot of us struggle is to understand how to cope with that day-to-day, monotonous, the repetitive stuff that just keeps... It's small enough that you can just bunk it off to the back.
Yeah.
But slowly the back starts to fill up. And then that's when... That's why I think outletting to someone is always the best thing.
And I think even if you don't feel comfortable doing that, it's worth getting your phone out, putting it on record, and then just going on a ramble. And then if you feel like
talk to your phone, text it. There's so
many.
Literally, I know, there's a million ways of doing it.
I know in terms of therapy, a lot of them have you write things down or draw things. That's another way of doing it.
Exactly.
And you just keep a journal of just like how you felt, but also write down what you'd like to overcome. But don't say, oh, I want to overcome depression, because that's like saying, oh, I want to, climb Mount Everest. Like, you're not going to do it in a day. Just focus on little things like, oh, I'm really struggling at work with this one person, I'm trying to get on with them, but they're really not helping. Then, write down some solutions, speak to your boss, maybe get moved, maybe they'll be moved, things like that. Or if it's worse, think about,
stuff on it. And I think it's that day-to-day stuff that's really good for you. And it's that famous saying, if you want to change the world, start by making your bed.
Amen.
If you make your bed every day, no matter how bad your day is, it'll only be good because you started by making your bed.
Amen.
Because
to
you
that.
either trigger lots of little gains throughout the day. I always say celebrate the small wins.
Yeah.
And then you can celebrate the victory at the end.
Amen.
But the worst comes to worst. If you've made your bed and you've had a real shit day, at least you're coming home to a bed that you've made.
Perfect.
Nice. You can lay back and go, right, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
You don't have to think, oh great, now I'm coming to lay in a bed.
I think also as well to that point, you don't have to be happy 24/7.
No one is.
I think that's
no one's happy 24/7.
I think that's also as well as a society, people are like, I'm not happy, I'm depressed. It's like, no, you're not going to be happy all the time, because if you're happy, your body's going to be loaded with serotonin and dopamine, and you're not going to think straight. Like sometimes you go into I call it the neutral zone, where you're neither happy nor sad nor frustrated nor angry. You're just there, and you're just working. You're just thinking about things. And yes, you as you said right near the beginning of the podcast, you do latch onto things and remember those if you put emotion to it.
Yeah.
But most of our day, there's nothing wrong I'm probably going to get told off for this, but there's nothing wrong with being emotionless, as long as you acknowledge your emotions and you deal with them.
When they're there.
Exactly.
They're not going to be there 24/7.
Yeah.
And I think for anyone listening who might have depression or anxiety, definitely for me, I didn't feel anxious 24/7.
No.
I felt anxious a lot, but it wasn't all the time. I did have periods of time where I was just happy, and also periods of time where I just got on with it.
Yeah.
And that's why I love like long distance running like mine. For Harrison, he's normally done within, say, 7 hours. I know that's still a very long time for most people.
It's like a work day.
But for me, like a long run will be 12 hours, 15 hours maybe.
Is that like your training?
Yeah.
Quotation marks.
A little bit of training sort of thing, but there's races like there's Western States. It's 100 miles. It's people normally do it in about 32 hours.
Yeeks.
And then there's the Barkley Marathon. It's like 60. So all these long races, 60 hours.
Jesus.
There's a lot of time in there where you're not really feeling anything.
No.
You're just getting on with it.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people do. I think they allow the mind again they put too much emotion sometimes on some feelings.
Mm.
You know what you've got to do. Say you're at work, your boss is giving you a list to get on with. Start with list 1. What is list 1? Sharpen my pencils. Sharpen your pencils, Ed.
Yep.
Start it.
Yep.
Tick it off the list. Yeah, I think whilst people are trying to get on with stuff, they're too busy thinking about stuff. And if you're in that frame of mind, can't get my words out.
Yeah.
Frame of mind.
Yeah.
That's when maybe you should be talking to someone.
Yeah.
Because clearly it's impacting your life. If you're thinking about it all the time, or you feel you are, that's when you should seek help.
Yeah, we kind of live in the world, if we put it plainly, where we're showing all these superhero films and the hero comes out on top. Sometimes hero doesn't in some cases, but we kind of had it built into us from a very young age with all the movies we've watched, all the things we've read and the things we've written, that we are a person who is set on this earth to save the world from an office. And that's not the case. You're not born a hero, you're not born a villain, you're born to be you, and you fit into this puzzle that is the world the way you want to fit into it.
Yeah.
Because this puzzle doesn't have notches, you can formulate yourself and be your own piece.
Yeah.
And then people, friends, family, they too will morph, but they'll also morph and link up with you. And sometimes you'll
They'll
morph
connect
away.
in their own ways.
Exactly, and I think people, move away from trying to fit in to let the world fit in around you. I mean, that's when you that's when selfishness is okay. Because sometimes being selfless, when you're constantly giving and giving and giving, and then no one gives to you, you are going to be a very empty person. And then that's when you can get caught.
Exactly. I think it's almost, talking about your almost puzzle, it's about, I've always seen myself as a square peg, often a round hole.
Yeah.
And I think it's just understanding that instead of looking for that square hole, or that hole that your peg fits in, just allow the hole to find you.
Yeah. I think as well, it's like...
And that's like success, at the end of the day, success will find you. If you've worked hard...
being the square peg.
Yeah, if you work hard and you're grafted in it, you're going to get a reward for that.
Big time.
Might not be the reward you wanted, and we're going back to that reality of expectation,
Yeah.
but you will be rewarded. And I think we, as a generation, if we're looking at where we can go next, we've opened the box on mental health, we're allowing stuff to come out, but we're nowhere near... I don't believe there will ever be a cure.
No.
Because otherwise you're just taking emotion away from people if you're making a cure. But we can carry on digging. I think within the next 5 years, it'd be great to see more hospitals, more doctors' surgeries.
Yeah.
Embracing mental health as an illness.
Yeah.
And a crisis.
Yeah.
You go to A&E when you've got a cut in your hand.
people
should be going to A&E if they're having a crisis up here in the head. It's same
think
with
as well,
work as well. I think it's why I often think, you know, it's a bit more accessible to ring up and say, I've got food poisoning, I've been sick loads, compared to I'm feeling really, really down. You can't quantify what down is. No. Someone else are like, you know, pull yourself together and come in.
I'm feeling too good can go one of two ways.
Exactly. So I think on a level of mental health, we scratch the surface, but let's just keep going, and that just comes from more talking. You know, celebrities are talking more, which is good. Yeah, I think we can't escape the fact that we all look up to people. Yeah, I'm guilty of it. We all are.
There's nothing wrong with that. Models. I think the important thing is to follow the right leader. I think that's where it's like people. I mean, I said it before. Like, people are sheep, but sometimes there's nothing wrong with being a sheep. If
it's
you
understanding
something.
Why you're following that person. Yeah. Are you following that person to be that person? Because if you are, that's wrong. Yeah. Or are you going, do you know what? They've got some really good morals. For me, it's Ross Edgley and Ant Edison. Yeah. I look at them, they're two great blokes. They've got this hardened mindset, this bulletproof body idea. I like their morals, but I don't want to be them. No. I don't want to be Ross. No. I want to be Jake. Yeah. But I like some of what Ross has got.
You
so
can
I pull that
in. You don't
in.
have to be it.
And it's pull it in. Yeah. Use the world, you know?
I like apples that don't have to be an apple.
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel that.
I think going on that, another good saying for people, apples and oranges, there's no difference. Yeah. But sometimes an apple wants to be an orange. Yeah. An apple will never be an orange.
Gotcha. No, I've heard that one before. That one's good. So, yeah. But no, yeah. I think we'll end that bit there, but we just want to get over to social media.
Yeah, and where we're going next, because it sounds like the mud.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we move this around, I mean, we've got
we
quite
look
a
like
few
we're going
things.
into the mud.
Yeah, so I think if you guys haven't heard the previous podcast with Harrison, later on in the podcast I talk about throwing Jake
in the mud. Yeah.
But there's a good reason
Literal
for that.
mud.
Yeah, I am a photographer. It's not just for pleasure, but I think it's something that, as a photographer, I mean, sport is not one of those places where I do a lot of work in. I only work with a very few select group of people. It's not because I'm picky, it's because I don't have time, and the people I want to spend time with are the people that I know I can be creative with. So Harrison, I've been shooting with him for over, I think we said it at the podcast, like 6 years or something.
That's
like
crazy.
Something long.
We've done one shoot properly, I think.
We've done one shoot properly. I mean, we've planned ideas. Because you've also been doing some stuff with Luke Cole, is that right? Is it Luke Cole?
Yeah, Luke Cole.
Yeah.
He's really good as well.
Yeah, because
we've done a few bits. He did a bit of filming for me when I did lab day.
Gotcha. Yeah. How did lab day go, by the way? Just a quick one.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Yeah.
Never nice.
To me, the idea of lab days, like, I know what they are, which is basically you just run, and then people just watch you slowly die.
Yeah.
And they're like, right, this is where you almost died.
I like it because it does look cool. And that's mainly why I got Luke to come
it's
along.
all science.
Because I said, it's very basic science. It's often just looking at how much oxygen you're using and stuff like that, and a bit of blood stuff.
Yeah.
But it looks really cool. You've got all the mask on, you've got all the computers, you've got a big treadmill, you've got like wires on you, you look like Bionic.
You feel like Captain America in 21st century.
You feel like Tony Stark. You're like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Get a photo of me now.
Yeah, I get
But no,
that.
going to us and social media,
it's like we've got ideas, and I think I don't know, I think everyone is like in the same boat, and they're all saying the same thing as like, how can we stand out? And I think it's not even that. I don't even think we need to worry about that. I think you just got to focus on showing your talents in photos and showing what you're up to, but obviously in a more of an artistic way to kind of capture people who aren't quite as interested.
Yeah, because I'm about as creative as a white piece of paper.
You can do a lot with a blank canvas.
Yeah.
See?
I can be a blank canvas, but you're the painter.
Yeah.
So you know how to apply the paints and stuff like that.
I wouldn't say I know. I kind of wing it sometimes, but I think
that's
I
always
think my
how you
idea is I formulate an idea and I run with it. So I mean, the idea of throwing you in the mud, that's just me basically trying to imagine you going about a run and you fall down, you get back up, you carry on running. Like, you don't acknowledge the fact that you've got mud on you. You're like, this happens all the time. It's basically part of my uniform.
It comes off.
Exactly. It washes off. It's not a problem. But I think it kind of also shows that raw mentality of endurance running. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. And I think the easiest way to show that is literally to, you basically just roll on the ground a bit. You stand up. I get you running a few laps. You feel a bit, tired. And then that's when I take some pictures.
Yeah.
Because that's when as a goal as a photographer is getting you in your rawest form, and I'm not the one to get you dressed up in your kit. We go out, we park you up on a fence, take a couple of portraits, and have a nice day.
Yeah.
I'm more of the case of I'm gonna challenge you a bit.
I remember you saying that I feel like you've chosen the people that are the hardest to probably get that from.
Yeah.
In the sense that Harrison and me are endurance athletes.
Yeah.
Which tends to mean we last quite a while.
Yeah.
And I think even you have said, it takes about 2 hours of Harrison to even get him looking a little bit sweaty.
Oh, it takes him ages to get. It's just like the man just keeps going. It just. I wouldn't say it aggravates me, but I'm like, I've got places to be, and I need you to start suffering.
Can you start sufferfesting?
Yeah.
I think that's where you just got to find a big old hill and get him to run up it like 10
I did actually do that because I work for Photobytes, so I do like camera reviews and a bit more to it as well. But I was testing out this one camera. It was I guess you could class it as a sports camera. But I basically just had him, because we live in Sussex Downs and we have basically like this little tight turn down by the lighthouse. I basically had him, because quite a few cyclists actually use it, which I was surprised by. I basically just had him going up and down that a few times, and that conked him out a bit. Because that's where they practice their drills, going uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill.
You just got to find something that's going to hit us hard.
Yeah.
For me, it's hills. I hate hills.
I think every athlete, hills is like their arch nemesis, because it's
For
not
me,
just...
it's going down.
Down? Interesting.
As a cyclist, it's lovely to go down, sure.
Of course, yeah. Well, gravity
but
takes
running, obviously running is a bit different.
Yeah.
because running you put
puts more
strain on your
puts
front
more
of your
impact
legs.
on the knees, doesn't it? You got a longer
more
distance
impact.
for the knees. Yeah.
You feel a bit more uncomfortable. So I'd say going downhill is worse than going uphill.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Well, that's
uphill
noted.
is slower.
I mean, in my brain, I did kind of imagine you muddied up going downhill, so that kind of counts. I can literally imagine it right now, but I need a puddle and I need a sunny day, and those two don't always blend together.
No, they don't work too well together.
And it's like, I can't just have you on standby like, okay, it's rain today, it's sunny tomorrow, are you ready? And you're like, I'm kind of halfway through my 15-day run along. I'm currently up in Manchester.
I'm somewhere in the country, I don't know where yet.
That's cool, I'll just get a flight. It's like, it doesn't work like that. But no, I mean, there's ideas. I think as well, I mean, you're failing you to social media in terms of what you're doing. You're about,
I'm a
9 months in?
I'd say, I had a really good saying, I'm going to call myself a social media immigrant. I'm very new to the scene. Yeah. I've always had social media.
Yeah.
But as like this is a way of like
communication.
You said, posting a photo because I want my friends to see it. I went to a cool place sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this running side of it, I'm posting and talking to people that I've never met before.
Yeah.
On an actual, I don't want to say business sort of way, but
yeah, so
more of a professional sense
and
to
just to kind of shout out to the next following episode, I'm getting Harrison back on. We're going to be talking about social media and working on people as a brand, because that is something that's become more of a thing now, is people being a brand. So we're going to talk about kind of breaking that away.
I think you almost said that in the last episode a bit as well, like, yeah, a lot of athletes now are a brand in themselves.
You have to be.
You know, Usain Bolt is a brand.
Yeah.
Mo Farah is a brand.
Well, if you dial sport back, say 20 years ago, there would be a scout, and they would be looking out for you. So you have to attend all the major races. You have to stand out. So that's basically just being an athlete, and they have to take notice. And then that's when you get signed. They'll work on the sponsorships. They'll basically work on making you famous as well as making you a star athlete.
Yeah.
In today's world, we are basically advertising ourselves. I'm saying this as an athlete, just for example. You're advertising ourselves out to people, to sponsorships, and we're cutting the scout out completely. So they're not going to be trying to look for you. If they do, they'll be doing it on social media as well. But most likely, as Harrison's doing now, you're getting sponsorships and deals with brands, and you're working together. So you cut out the middleman. And that's what you got to learn in this world, and that's where I come in. So I basically help you be that brand. I help you show your exactly, and it's also so people they take notice. Like I don't know if you've seen the photos of Harrison bursting out the water.
Yes,
I recently shared them.
Really nice photos.
That goal was to say, hey, Blue 70, look over here.
Yeah,
like that was literally. Part of the shoot was to do that, but also he had something to share on his socials, on his website, with his friends, and then it just brought him attention. But the main thing is dressing you up in gear of, say, a sponsor that you're after, and we're like, okay, we're going to try and make them pay attention to you. And that's where I come into. I'm essentially the marketeer, but as a photographer. And that's where
you're basically that big red flag.
Yeah, I'm basically...
I say red flag. You're basically that big flag with my face on it saying, please look at me.
Yeah,
I'm over here.
And I take pictures of your face for the flag. Yeah. That's pretty much my job. And I think that's why... And it comes back to, how are we going to make you stand out? And it's like, well, first of all, you isolate what you want to talk about. You isolate who you are. You isolate the people you're trying to get in contact with. Are you trying to appeal to an audience? Are you trying to appeal to a brand, a market? Is there a race going on that you want to get some attention for? Is it a sponsorship that you're seeing that's come up?
Is it a cause? Is it anything?
Yeah, anything. I mean, you also talk about raising awareness and mental health through your running. So it's like, okay, so who do we need to contact to get that open? And then we get, some lines opened up so you can be that brand. And that's pretty much what I partly help with. But most of it's, I basically just make you look good, and then that helps you bring in that business.
100%.
And that's basically what we've got to try and do over the next few years, is work on you becoming a brand, but still being Jake.
Yeah.
And this is where mental health
that's the key thing. It's like, there's being a brand and there's being a sellout.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, Harris and I are going to try and talk about that and break that down. But kind of starting it off, I think as long as you're true to yourself and you're true to what you put out on social media and you admit your failures, then you're more of a human than you are not. When you get people that feel terrible, but then they go and post a picture of the other day when they're having a great day, claiming it was today, that's when you're not being true to your audience or to yourself. And there's nothing wrong with hiding that, because obviously when you're on social media, you're open to the world, you're open to scrutiny. You're going to have people saying, oh, you're not, they've got to run of your shit. Like, just give up now. There's no point. 15 days, more like 15 years. You know, you're going to get that.
Yeah.
And that's when the mental resilience comes into it.
Well, that's just it. I think I've been really lucky. I haven't had anyone say anything too bad yet.
No.
I'd say too bad. No one's really said anything bad.
No, that's cool.
I've had a few questions.
Yeah.
But I've not yet had anyone go, nah,
and the thing is that when you start out small, you don't tend to get those. It's only when you really get bigger.
I think also it very much in the line of sport stuff. It depends on what it is.
Yeah, big time.
If we're a massive society where if something's been done, it's a lot easier to believe in. It's not the most famous thing recently is the 2-hour marathon.
Yes, that was big.
It's never been believed to be done. It's been done now. I'm sure within the next year we'll see 2 people. I'm going to put a prediction: 2 people will do it in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean that was controlled tests. So
very controlled.
I'm going to put it 4 years.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to put my bet at 4 years.
I definitely think it will happen.
Yeah.
We can see the body can do it. Yeah. I know it was very controlled. You'd need dreamy situations for it, but we know that it's been done, and you can go so many things in life. Everything, Everest. 1 minute mile, 1 minute mile. Jeez, who's running that?
4 minute mile. 20 years time.
4 minute mile. Yeah, all of these things.
Yeah.
Once they're done, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So I think that's almost what social
media.
Well,
it's like there was a picture. I think National Geographic or Time shared it, and it was basically a queue to the top of Mount Everest.
It's awful.
It's ugly. Like no one awful. Now since 2010, no one has said I've climbed Mount Everest, and it's been a big deal. It's like, oh, I climbed Mount Everest. Like, oh, cool. When did you do that?
Yeah.
There's no big
it's
buzz
still
about
got
it.
That like, wow.
Has got a bit of wow, but
it's like it's.
But have you noticed that all the big mountaineers are like, right, I've conquered Everest. I'm gonna conquer the other 9.
Well, there's a really famous guy. I don't know why I say really famous. He's actually not that famous.
He's famous in as well.
Yeah, he's famous. He's famous. He's a famous climber.
Yeah.
I posted about him a lot. It's called Nims. He used to be in the SF, so the Special Forces, and he has just done. He's broken a record for summiting all 14 8,000ers. And nuts. He did it in 7 months.
No, he didn't.
And the record prior to that was 7 years. So he called it Project Possible, and I think he did it in 3 phases. Phase 1 was something like Everest, Lhotse, Mancala, something like that.
I know the one. Yeah, like, I vaguely know the
basically,
ones,
he did like 5 at a time within about 2 months.
Jesus.
And he's an absolute hero with it. But like he said, you look at Everest, it's a money trap, just like everything. It's a money game now.
Yeah.
Some people are paying upward to 150,000.
Mm.
Yeah, what they're getting now, they're getting a kitchen, showers, lounge, facilities to contact their family. But going back to Ant, when he did it, he went with a cameraman and 2 Sherpas.
Yeah.
That was their team. They didn't have any guides. He wanted to live like the Sherpas.
Yeah.
He went up and helped them fix the lines, fix the ladders, And when he did go up, people were turning around. He was like, "Nah, we're gonna carry on." And that's, I think, where we're looking now. We need to find innovators.
You can't pay anyone to do that for you.
No.
I think even with the 4 minute mile, you can't pay. You can pay all the money in the world. It doesn't mean you're gonna run 4 minutes in it. You can't.
At the end of the day, it's like all those sort of things. I've looked into a lot of those sort of climbing things, and you can pay like 50 grand, and they'll put everything there. They'll tell you everything, but right at the bottom in small little ink, summiting is not a guarantee. Just like if you wanted to pay someone to help you do the 4 minute mile, you could pay Nike. Get Nike. I want to run the 4 minute mile. They go, right, we'll give you millions.
Yeah. Here's our latest shoe technology.
But we can't guarantee. I can't say for 100% you're going to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's.
And I think for photographers, it's like, here's a £5,000 camera. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good photographer.
Exactly. Give me a £5,000 camera, and I'll probably use 1% of its capability.
Yeah. Because if you don't understand what you are doing and what you're getting into, and you don't understand it thoroughly, you're not going to make it.
You set yourself up for failure.
Absolutely, big time.
There's failing when it's right, and then there's setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
I'd much rather not set myself up for failure.
And dying to the transparency of social media, it's showing those failures.
Mm.
And you can keep it quiet for a few months, you know, because you obviously as a person, you're a human, you have to process what you went through, and then you were like, okay guys, so, you know, last week went out for a run, got injured, currently dealing with a bit of stress around my knee, so I've got to be out for a couple of weeks. But yeah, just, you know, stick around. I'll be posting my rehabilitation of getting back out there, but just let you know, I'm currently man down. Like, you know, just put it out.
I think that's what I'm really bad at. I literally had someone make a joke to me. He's a good friend. I think I'd just come back from Dubai. I did a post in Dubai, and I said, "Oh, I'm back posting again." He went, "Isn't this like the 5th time you said that?" I'm like, "Oh, behave. I'll be back all the time."
Yeah.
I can never make my mind up.
Yeah, here's Johnny.
Exactly. I've made about 6 comebacks in about 6 days. I'm back again.
Yeah. You have more comebacks than a rock star. Yeah.
Definitely.
No, yeah, it's good. I think also having jokes about it's fun. It just kind of loosens it up.
Oh, exactly.
Gotta have a joke on a life.
Gotta have a bit of lucidity. That's not even a word.
Don't think so.
You just gotta let life go sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's put too much on it.
Yeah.
Too much ownership.
And
Just
I have to say, this has been a pretty good podcast. I think we've been going on for almost...
It's felt long.
It's felt like about an hour or so. I mean, we probably started about, 11ish. But
that's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
We've gone on. We've rambled. Thank you for listening.
No, yeah. If you're still here, thank you very
kudos.
much. Did you want to hand over your socials so that people can find you?
Yeah, so Instagram basically is all I do because I can't do anything else.
Yeah. What's the username?
It's Jake_Taplin.
Taplin's TAPLIN. There we go.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the main one. Yeah. No,
here,
thank you.
If you're still here, I'll give you a $5.
Yeah.
Hit me up in the DMs.
Yeah, hit me up
I'll
in the
give
DMs.
a $5 to charity if you're still here.
And then when the podcast blows up, you're going to be a very, very poor man.
I am indeed.
But yeah, so this has been The Curious Creator. I'm Luke. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.